やあみんな、花です。Do you know what today is? Because I do. It is my 50th YouTube video. 50, 50, 50, 50. What? Seeing as it is my 50th video, today I've decided to make the video that everyone has been waiting for. The one thing I get asked absolutely all the time is, how do you study Japanese? How can I study Japanese? I don't know where to start. Help me, teach me. What are you doing? How? And so today I'm finally going to answer that question because it's so tiring having to type it out all the time, every time. Okay, right. This video, it can apply to pretty much any language, but for simplicity's sake, I'm just going to assume that you're all English speakers and that you are learning Japanese. But you can take my advice for whatever language it is you may be learning and whatever your mother tongue may be. Okay, first of all, learning a language is so different from learning anything else because it's not just retaining facts and figures, it's altering the way your brain works. You're creating a new section of yourself by learning a language. It sounds weird, but it really is, because when I start to speak in Japanese, it's like a switch. Because when I speak in Japanese, I have to be thinking in Japanese. My whole brain just sort of goes whoop doop boop doop Japanese time, and you know? So the way people learn languages has to be really different to the way that you would learn anything else. You can't study it, you have to learn it through experience. From the beginning, I never really studied that much, I just used what I knew all the time. And that, my friends, is how you learn a language. You use it. I mean, of course, first of all, you have to learn the basics. If you're beginning to learn Japanese, start off by listening to the language. Watch some Japanese TV shows or anime or whatever, and just get used to the sound of it and maybe learn a bit about the culture, and then learn a few bits of random vocab. Then you should learn kana, hiragana, and katakana, and maybe like find out what kanji is, and then learn basic grammar and some basic vocab, and then you can start using it. Once you have the basics down, you can really just go with the resources that we have around us nowadays. Like, it's so easy just to start the ball rolling, and it's sort of a snowball effect, and like, as you keep using your Japanese, your very basic Japanese that started off as a little thingy like this, then you can gradually, as you keep using it, it's like boom 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 bum 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 bum, because you pick things up as you go along. Okay, so about beginning to use your Japanese that you have learned. You should use the internet. Yes. Okay. Find out what an IME is. It's basically just a thingy so that you can type in Japanese on your computer. It was such a long time ago that I set mine up that I don't really remember how I did it, but if you Google Microsoft IME or Google IME, then you can find out how to set up your computer so you can type in Japanese even though it's not a Japanese computer. Okay, and also, if you have an iPhone, or actually pretty much any phone, you could try and work out how to get a Japanese keyboard on that as well, because it will help you so much. You need a Japanese keyboard. Another thing that I really recommend this so much, like, oh my god, this thing has saved my life so much, and I still use it every day, today as well. So great. Okay, there's this browser add-on called Rikai-chan or Rikai-kun. I think it's Rikai-chan for Firefox and Rikai-kun for Chrome. If you turn it on, then if you hover over any Japanese word on your browser, then it will teach you about it. It will give you like a million different English definitions, and it tells you what like form, like what case it is, and how it's been conjugated, and it will tell, like, even slang works, and it shows you how to read the kanji. So good. I really recommend you download it because it will save your life. Wow, technology! Let me show you the dictionary app that I use. It's this one here, kotoba. It was called kotoba when I downloaded it, and I haven't updated it in a million years, and I think now it's called imiwa. I think that's what it's called now, but it's so good. You can type your search query in English or Japanese, and it has like kanji lookup and all sorts of stuff, and you can make lists of your favorite words, and it's really good, and it's really great just for quickly looking things up when you can't be bothered to go get a dictionary. Twitter has helped me so much, like more than anything, like it's unbelievable. Whoa, what is this doing? On Twitter there are hundreds of Japanese learners just like you, and there are tons of Japanese people who might be learning English and who are very enthusiastic to help Japanese learners get better. And really, like, the thing is with Twitter is you can basically say anything and it doesn't matter if you're wrong. So like, even if it's just like a basic sentence you learned from a textbook or whatever, you can stick it on Twitter. 犬が好きです or whatever, you can just say it on Twitter and people will be like, wow, very good, Japanese, you're speaking Japanese, I admire you. And if you can make friends with your followers and you can follow people and make friends, friendship. Communication is obviously a vital part of learning a language. You can't just expect yourself to learn a language by yourself because the whole point of a language is communication. So make friends on Twitter. You can add them on Skype and have Skype conversations and do a little call and practice your speaking, and you can make friends with other foreigners who are learning Japanese and you can be learning buddies. Another thing is you should absorb yourself in Japanese culture. Watching Japanese TV and movies and reading Japanese books if you're that advanced and reading Japanese manga is absolutely great. Whether you use subtitles or not, as long as you don't get too focused on what's written and you keep listening to what they're saying, just watching anything in Japanese will be such great help to you. I will link to some places here, here, and maybe here where you can watch Japanese dramas, TV, and anime. And if you want any recommendations for things to watch, then ask me because I will gladly help you out. If you are struggling to retain information in your head, if you find yourself forgetting vocabulary or how to write hiragana or how to read hiragana or katakana or kanji or whatever, I recommend a thing called mnemonics. Mnemonics. Basically, you come up with a phrase or an action or something silly that will help you remember whatever it is you're trying to remember. Here is a link to some hiragana mnemonics that I quite like. When I was learning hiragana, I had this thing for he, which I came up with. It's like, oh, I'm gonna have to move the camera. 1 second. You know the hiragana he, which looks like this? I came up with an action. You go like this. He. See? It's like the shape of he with my arms. And it's like he, and you say the sound. So that helps you to remember it. So yeah, if you just be silly as possible and say Japanese words in a silly voice, and it will stick in your mind. Like when you're like, ah, what was that word? Oh yeah, I remember, because I did that silly action or whatever, and then you'll remember it. Being weird is kind of a big part of learning languages. I really recommend that you talk to yourself. Like, I talk to myself all the time anyway. As soon as I'm home alone, I march around the house yelling stuff. But you should yell stuff in another language because it's so much better. So even if it's just simple mundane things like, oh, I need to take a shower now, it will help you so much. And if you feel like you need to say a word that you don't know, then you can go look it up and you learn things so much. Another thing is you should make a record of your current state of Japanese knowledge. You could keep a diary in Japanese, which is difficult because handwriting is tough. You could record like voice memos, you could make videos like I do. You don't even have to post them on the internet, you can just keep them for yourself. But posting them on the internet is good because you can get feedback and maybe make some friends. Some days when I'm like, oh no, I don't speak Japanese, my Japanese is so bad, everyone's so much better than me, I'm a failure. Then I just go back to my old videos, like my very first one where I was terrible, and then I'm like, whoa, I used to suck so bad, wow, I'm so good compared to that old me. And then you will get a little boost of confidence. And getting little boosts of confidence is really important in learning a language. Being confident in what you're saying is an excellent thing. Really, you just need to remind yourself about what a crazy thing it is learning another language. If you just think like, wow, I'm reading this stuff that to someone who's never studied it before, they would have no clue what any of this means, and yet I can make sense of it and I understand it. Sometimes just like little victories where it's like, yes, I understood that, or yes, I can read it, or yes, the world is great. Just little boosts of happiness and feeling good about yourself can really help with your learning and motivation. And you really have to be motivated. You have to be motivated and not be self-conscious, because it's such a drawback. If you're too embarrassed to speak in the language that you're learning, then you'll never get any practice. So you have to keep fighting, and you have to gain courage and blather on to everybody, because even if it's incorrect, it doesn't matter, because nobody's going to expect you to be fluent if you're still learning. I mean, obviously, because people don't expect me to be fluent, because I've only been studying for 3 years and I make weird mistakes all the time. But my friends are all very supportive, and people just correct me and they're like, Hannah, you're so silly, you made a mistake, and I'm like, oh shucks. Occasionally you might notice something I've tweeted may just disappear because I realize I made a mistake and I get embarrassed. But getting embarrassed is not good. You have to embrace your foreigner soul and try not to keep making the same mistakes, but don't worry if you do, because it's going to happen. You're gonna make mistakes. Sorry. Good luck. Also, if you are having trouble with pronunciation, I really recommend you listen to a lot of Japanese music and sing along and sing to your heart's content. When you're trying to produce the sounds from your own brain with nothing to use as a reference, then sometimes it can come out strange because your brain is used to thinking in your mother tongue, so your tongue is doing the mother tongue thing. Because don't you often find if you're singing a song in English that's sung by somebody with a different accent, you find yourself putting on that accent when you sing, because otherwise it's just not the same? It's like that when singing a Japanese song. You just end up having good pronunciation. There is a whole bunch of great Japanese music out there, so I really recommend you have a listen. And once again, if you want any recommendations, then definitely ask me. Last of all, you have to have fun and make friends and just enjoy the whole experience. Don't stress out about maybe not being as good as somebody else or feeling like you're not understanding what you feel like you should be understanding, because learning a language is a fun thing, and if you're doing it because you like the language, then you shouldn't be stressing out about it, because it's not a big deal. And you don't need to be like, oh no, I haven't studied in such a long time, because you don't need to study, you just need to use what you have, and it will grow and grow and grow and grow. Obviously, going to Japan and being constantly surrounded by the language is the best way to learn Japanese, but those of us who can't go to Japan yet, we have to settle for second best, which is creating an artificial Japanese universe around our head using the magic of the internet. Yay, internet! And last of all, guys, if you ever have any questions or you just want to practice, then feel free to talk to me. I'm always available on Twitter and Tumblr and sometimes Facebook. If you look down in the description, I have a load of links to places where you can find me. So if you ever want to chat, then just talk to me, and when I'm not busy, I will get back to you. Okay, I love you guys a lot. じゃあみんな見てくれてありがとうございます。みんな大好き。一緒に頑張りましょう。私も頑張ります。ヤッホー。じゃあまた。バイバイ。バイ。Yeah. And guys, if you ever have any questions about Japanese, or whoa, my light just fell over. Wow. Oh my god. I'm sorry. I dropped you. The tripod fell. This isn't going too greatly. Okay. 日本語の勉強